Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get underway with some Premier level Major League Pickleball. Morgan Evans here alongside pro player and analyst Brandon Insekpong.
Happy to be here, Morgan. Thanks for having me. This is a fabulous day here in Mesa, Arizona. The sun is shining. There is not a ton of wind. I'm expecting to see some awesome and high-level pickleball in this matchup.
We are, of course, at the Rockin' Protein Pickleball Center at Bellbank Park. And this matchup is going to be electric. We've got the Seattle Pioneers versus the New York Hustlers. This is the group stage in the Premier level, the first event for the 2023 Major League Pickleball season. Etta Wright and Meghan Dizon will be taking on Anna Bright and Lacy Schneeman.
Yeah, this is going to be like you said, an electric matchup. We've got, on one side, Etta Wright, who has made really a great name for herself in the past 6 to 8 months. A couple medals there on the PPA Tour. And then you've got Meghan Dizon, who's been playing for quite a while on the PPA Tour as well. I expect them to bring a lot of fire and passion out there. I don't think we'll see a ton of dinks and slowing it down from their side. And then conversely, we've got Lacy Schneeman and Anna Bright. Anna Bright, who is more than likely one of the most electric females in pro pickleball. You will be hearing from her time and time again. So I'm expecting a real battle right here.
Yeah, Anna Bright, certainly one of the stars in the game. She has been partnering up recently with fantastic effect with the one and only Annalie Waters. Shout out to her 16th birthday just yesterday. Lacy Schneeman, she has proved herself a valuable asset in Major League Pickleball already. She is going to be the X factor here. I was watching her warm up a little bit earlier. She's got a full range of shots, plenty of power, lots and lots of speed. I think we'll see Anna Bright on the left-hand side for the majority, and based on how they're warming up right now, that looks to be what they're planning. Etta Wright, as you mentioned, really come along a long way in the last really 9 months or so. College tennis player, college tennis coach as well, so I think she's got a good head for the game. And Meghan Dizon, she, alongside Elise Jones last year, really put some great runs together, and she made a real point of upping her power game. She switched paddles and she started really firing from the hip with serves and big thirds. So I'll be curious if she's able to reel off a few big ones and let Etta Wright get in there early, cause some trouble.
Yeah, and as so often is the case, it'll be a determination of who's able to settle into their game the earliest. I think both ladies here, or both teams here, would like to get in there and set the tone and the pace as early as possible. And so whoever's having to pivot and change their strategy is probably going to take a little while to get grounded here. So I look for, like I said, kind of a high-level matchup. I look for both teams to get out there and try to execute their game plan, and if not, look towards the bench to see if they need to change their strategy.
Yes, the gentlemen will take the court after the ladies have finished, and that is one I cannot wait for. Ben Johns and Tyler Loong will be taking on Tyson McGuffin and Rafa Hewett. So all fire all the time from one side of the court, while Ben and Tyler, they're a little more subdued. Ben Johns, he doesn't ride the roller coaster of emotions, and I think because of that, he keeps himself away from the pitfalls, and I think in a rally scoring format that really pays dividends. I think you can get away with some errant thirds when you're playing normal side out scoring, but here, if you've got that rush of blood, that adrenaline flowing, it can really cost you.
Yeah, and it depends what makes yourself and your team tick. I think for the New York Hustlers, for them, energy is going to be key. They've got a lot of fiery players on their side, and Tyson McGuffin, Rafa Hewett, Anna Bright. So if they're screaming out there, if they're pumping each other up, I think that's more in their nature. When it comes to Seattle Pioneers, as you said, a little more cool on the court, but let's not confuse that with not having a ton of passion. For Ben Johns, you don't win as many tournaments and medals as you have without being ultra competitive. He just has a style and approach that has worked for him. So I expect to see both teams do that here in this entire match.
Yeah, quick shout out to the owners as well, Seattle Pioneers, pickleball.com. That is an all-encompassing entity, and well, I'm guessing they're very happy they got that domain name early on. It's a good call from them.
Makes it easy, doesn't it?
It does. It was like, where should I go to learn about pickleball? Well, pickleball.com can't be too bad. The flip side, the New York Hustlers. This is where LeBron James got involved. Draymond Green, Kevin Love, Paul Rivera, Daniel Sillman, Corey Benbasset. I mean, as soon as LeBron James put his name on something, the whole world stood up, really.
Yeah, I saw a note where, you know, over 4 billion eyeballs caught wind of what's happening with pickleball just because of LeBron James' name being involved. We've got Paul Rivera, who is actually here on site watching his team. It's great to see the owners here supporting and getting so involved in Major League Pickleball. The sky is the limit for what can happen with this league, the players, the fans. So I think everybody involved is doing an awesome job, and I look forward to the future.
The future is indeed bright as we get set for Anna Bright and Lacy Schneeman to take on Etta Wright and Meghan Dizon. I can't wait. Come on, guys. Let's get this show on the road. Yeah,
it looks like they're getting Dizon and Etta Wright getting some last-minute advice from their team. They've also got Dave Fleming as their coach, who is on the sideline, and he's a great pickleball mind as well. Senior pro, and definitely made a statement, has a lot of medals under his belt, and also an analyst as well. So
yeah, fantastic commentator.
Good guy to listen to.
You know, and I see, how do you coach Ben Johns? What do you say to him? Aside from just don't not be Ben and try to, you know, just do your thing all the time.
Yeah, I think it starts with, hey Ben, what did you see?
Yes, yes. What would you advise I say to you? No, he's got a wealth of knowledge, Mr. Fleming, so I'm sure he's instilling some wisdom. All right, so it'll be Schneeman starting off proceedings.
Crowd already very fired up here.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of people that are making their way here in Mesa, Arizona to see this matchup.
Yeah, we're already kind of standing room only on Grandstand court. Well, great work early on there from Schneeman to handle some of those attacks, and Anna Bright finishing off the point nicely.
Already tons of fire as we expected.
Wow, I'm liking what I see there. Great defense, digging that ball out from a low position. If they can survive this miscommunication, they will be very happy, and they do.
Yeah, New York Hustlers are putting a press on. There's not a ton of dinks that are happening on their side right now. Oh, what a dig by Schneeman.
The net had other plans for that point, so Wright will serve to Bright. This is going to get rough.
It's a great drive by Dizon.
And a good leave, good communication from Etta Wright.
Yeah, I thought Schneeman slid a little bit too much to her left, got caught. Dizon put a lot of pressure on her there in the middle.
Yeah, I had a funny feeling Anna Bright was not going to wait too long to pull the trigger, when Dizon is in front of her.
It's a great play. She's so good at using that two-hand backhand down the line.
Nice work from Dizon handling that ball, keeping it low over the net.
Great defense for the Pioneers.
High level point there, Brandon.
Yeah, what a sequence back and forth. As you see, the Pioneers got backed up. They made their way up to the kitchen line. The Hustlers were backed up as well and just weren't able to complete the transition all the way back to the kitchen. Another great drive by Dizon.
Unbelievable.
Oh, what a point. I mean, that was awesome coverage by Wright in the middle.
And did you see that bait move from Anna Bright? She jigged one way, then went back, hoping that she would attract the ball.
What focus from Dizon to not let that rattle her,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, tough. Rattled me, and I'm just sitting here.
That's great play.
Yeah, great determined attack there from Etta Wright.
You can see early on, it looks like the Pioneers are trying to exploit that middle with that drive from Dizon, a little bit cross court, see if they can set up the point.
I tell you, some of those finishing moves are fantastic, but it's the defense from Wright and Dizon that is keeping them alive, getting them up to the kitchen line. Beautiful resets in the transition zone.
Awesome
Impressive
combo
work
by Etta Wright there, too. What defense off of the lob by Dizon. Sets up a combo where she, check this out, as she lobs on the backhand shoulder, gets in position, blocks it on the backhand, and ends up coming away with the point.
She shakes her head knowing that the lob might not have been the best option, but she got away with it.
Big drive by Schneeman.
Wow.
Crazy defense here. Oh, just got caught at the end of it.
Huge play from the Seattle Pioneers.
I love the patience that they had. Dizon picking her spots really nicely. The Hustlers had an opportunity to get back in that point. Bright just got caught a little bit on her way back in. It's a good way to mix it up there from Wright. As you can see, she went to down the line on the two-hand backhand, takes the next one and decides to go cross court. And that sets up the finish on the point.
A relatively routine error there from Wright. She's played some fantastic pickleball. Had Has it dropped in?
Oh, it looked like a great point by the Hustlers. Pioneers are wondering if that ball actually was in. They look to their bench.
However, the other bench are trying to reassure them that that ball was out. I don't think they should be allowed to do that.
Anna Bright content with starting the next point here.
Now, the net's got involved again. I tell you, I've been very, very impressed with Lacy Schneeman so far. She's really making herself very long up at the kitchen line, despite her stature, only around that 5'3", 5'4" kind of margin.
Yeah, she's doing a great job leaning in with that forehand. You can see there she's also got a nice backhand block as well as that ball lands in.
First dink error from Wright.
Yeah, it started out with one early on. I think she'll look to kind of dial it back in here.
There's that two-punch combination we saw earlier on. Does such a good job of holding it down the line and then finishing up with, well, either forehand or backhand.
Yeah, some players have patent combos. I think that's one of hers, where she hits that down the line backhand and slides.
That's the first poaching move from Anna Bright. Doesn't pay off.
Yeah, I do like the aggression as you see the changeover. Seattle Pioneers up 1, 11-10. I like the aggression there by Anna Bright, and I think if they want to get on top of this game, she's going to have to impose her will, as she did there. That just was a little bit over leverage, and Schneeman was not able to reset that ball back in the kitchen. But credit to the Pioneers for continuing to keep pressure on them and make that ball a difficult one.
An incredibly high-level match. It's going to be hard to top this, I think. I mean, the guys are going to have to come out and make something more entertaining than this. That's not easy.
Yeah, it makes it tough when you see, I think we've seen 1 or 2 dink errors in this entire game so far. And it feels so heavy to see them because there's the quality of play, the number of balls in each rally.
Yeah, the sheer power, agility, and ability to reset balls from any location on the court. It's just phenomenal. Great cover in the middle there from Wright. Registered that attack was likely coming to the middle.
Yeah, I think that's the only place where Bright can get in trouble with that two-hand backhand is speeding up through the middle.
Beautiful.
It's a great play there by Schneeman.
Yeah, she does such a good job of using that back leg to counterbalance along with the other hand. Gives her full stretch advantage, and looks like she's got plenty of power at that range.
Great dink by Etta Wright. Left the second one high, and I think Schneeman was a little surprised that that ball was as high as it was, and she tried to go down the line and just sprayed it a little wide.
She was still kind of re-establishing herself up in a good position and standing tall, surprised, as you say, that something at a decent height was upon her. Fantastic, aggressive forehand.
And that's a play I think they need to duplicate more often, where Anna Bright slides a little over to the right, holds that forehand, which freezes Etta Wright on that left side, and then just go through the middle.
Ooh, she took a real risk on that one. She got away with it, but I wouldn't recommend too many more of those.
I think Etta Wright's going back to return this like, do that again.
Yeah,
I'll be ready.
Still, we've got a tied ball game here. Schneeman off the back foot decides to pull the trigger. I think it needs to be a reset.
I think she was playing such a good point that her confidence was high and she felt like taking a chance. Didn't work out on that one.
Oh, yeah, I think it has trickled on to this point as well. She's really looking to go all in on a lot of those forehands.
Yeah, look for Wright to settle down the pace here.
That's not really her style, settling down the pace. She's more of a all in and see if my opponents can handle my pressure kind of gal. Usually works out.
Yeah, I think that's 3 straight errors for the Hustlers. I'd like to see a timeout if they lose this next point. Great patience.
Until then.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you said patience, someone lost it.
Yeah, I think that's not, again, you mentioned it. For the Hustlers, their natural strategy is to go out there and be all in, right? Take as many chances as possible, bring the fire, bring the pain. In this situation here, being down 4, it really makes sense for them to kind of slow it down and reestablish. It looks like they were trying to do that in that point. Schneeman got a little bit greedy towards the end and decided to flip that backhand.
Yeah, Dizon is doing a good job with the cross-court forehand dinks against Schneeman, and it's applying so much pressure that at the moment Schneeman is pulling the trigger a little early, and Wright has started to get good reads on those, and unfortunately not working out. So you're exactly right. They need to settle down and just do it by the book.
I think the challenge now, too, for the Seattle Pioneers, right, you've got a 4-point lead, you've been patient, but what you don't want to do is be too complacent here, right? You still want to put your foot on the gas. You want to take opportunities as you see them. So I would be expecting to see that from the Pioneers here, and hopefully their bench told them that. Great defense by the Pioneers.
Fantastic work, and the bench is up and ready to fire up the team even further.
Yeah, Dizon just left that one a little high. Schneeman leans in with that back foot up and sprays it through the middle.
It's easy to underestimate the kind of length she's got. You would assume that her height is not going to allow her to get those balls, but she's doing a great job.
And that's maybe one of the first defensive balls we've seen from the baseline that did not make it over. These ladies have been playing awesome high-level pickleball.
That's inspirational stuff. Oh, and Dizon is on fire.
What a two-hand backhand. Watch this as it's set up. Wright comes in, and then she cracks it cross-court.
She has thumped that into oblivion. And they're trying to find the ball and check that it still holds the properties of a sphere.
Great defense by the Pioneers here. Oh, great dig by Dizon.
In the end, that sustained attack from the Hustlers was too much.
Yeah, credit to the Hustlers there for continuing to squeeze and put pressure in the same spot. Made it really tough for the Pioneers to get back in position.
Yeah, 4 points the margin. That's a creative play there from Wright. I think the low-hanging fruit was going to be continue the attack towards the Schneeman side, but she thought that Bright might have other plans and try to intercept, so kept her honest on the backhand side. This is game point.
Great defense by Wright, but Schneeman keeps the pressure on, is able to finish the point. As you see here, the first couple blocks by Wright were okay, and then Schneeman says, I think we're done here.
Yeah, look at the height she gets on that.
The drive by Bright, the Pioneers are calling that ball out.
Yeah.
Then John shakes his head saying he's not sure.
Ref, what'd you see?
All right, so the Pioneers are going to challenge their own call. They are calling the ball in.
Let's see if we can't get a little bit of a look.
Yeah, let's take a look here.
And, ooh, that looks like it's, yeah, it looks pretty plumb on the line.
Yeah, that ball looks good from our angle.
Yeah. We don't see the exact moment it touches, but based on that particular view, I imagine that the call is going to be good.
And the Hustlers don't have a lot of time to think about this.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, they have changed the call, so they have called that ball out.
What? Oh.
And it is now 17-20. Hustlers in position to potentially make a comeback here.
I thought that was good. Yeah, the call was good.
Oh, they called it. They did call it good.
Yep.
Oh, apologize.
That's all right, mate. You get one mistake each day.
Dude, you know what? Too hyped up right now.
Look, it's an exciting time to be alive. Oh, it was not there. The backhand slice dink from Etta Wright was lovely.
Yeah, a little ambitious there from Anna Bright on that ball.
A little? And that's it. That's all she wrote. The Seattle Pioneers take game one. Dizon and Wright. Too much for Bright and Schneeman. Great matchup.
It's an awesome start to this match. If that's what we're in for the rest of this, stick around and don't go anywhere.
For sure. No, the gentlemen have a tough act to follow. So we're going to turn the mics down for a moment as the gentlemen warm up, and we'll be back with you live in just a few moments.
They won their challenge. They challenged their own out call and it overturned. So what I'm saying? It's a win on the challenge.
It's weird when they challenge their own call.
Oh, they would have retained.
They would have retained, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
We would have got it right.
We've gone through this before.
No, I'm with you.
I think Ben's the only one who's done it. Well, no, Zane's done it.
Had they asked, they were asking. But they just made their challenge stuff.
Yeah, but it's weird that they don't. But
Rafa and Tyson. The lefty's going to play the even side. color me.
Imagine that.
Color me. See how bad you think this looks on video. Look at my what's my black shirt. It's a shit ton of fuzz.
No, the camera won't get that.
So, that damn sweatshirt just buzzed me.
Oh, you know you're on film too. You're okay. You don't need to be wearing that coat.
I'm like sweating right now, I'm not gonna lie.
It's too hot to be wearing that coat.
I'm sweating my ass off. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, now you look beautiful again.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
Yes, don't you look
That's the whole reason I brought the damn jacket
Beautiful.
out here. I was like, oh, I'm gonna put my
Keep
jacket over
brushing
the
it
top of
off.
yours. You okay with that?
I've got mine marked.
Oh, I haven't. That's a great idea. I haven't marked mine. Well, I have an extra, so. Make sure the shirt's all tucked in. Last one, buddy. I think you're right. All right, 15 seconds, gentlemen.
Okay, and if they have a blue jacket on, I get their jacket if they don't know the answer, right?
So we're about to get underway here. The Seattle Pioneers men. Ben Johns, the unanimous GOAT of men's pickleball, partnered up with Tyler Loong. They did actually play together relatively recently at a Tuesday night pickleball towards the later stages of last year, and it worked out very nicely. Obviously Loong, the left-hander, he has a counter lefty in Rafa Hewett, one of the most intense, fiery individuals you'll ever meet. Nicest guy off the court.
Absolutely.
On the court, he is just absolutely electric. Wow, I'm surprised we didn't get a come-on of some kind there. That was fantastic work.
Yeah, a little early even for Rafa Hewett. Speeds up through the middle. I think Loong wants that ball again. It's on his forehand. Great ATP by Johns.
Yeah, he just has all the patience in the world to get out there, really balance himself over that right leg and play. It looks a little bit like a backhand slice, but has enough purchase on it. I think everyone's just going to rip the thirds today.
Yeah, it was a big serve to start that off by Johns, and I think Loong saw an opportunity to get that to Rafa Hewett's right shoulder. Fortunately, hit the net.
Yeah, I think it's very rare that Loong has to deal with another backhand slice coming from a lefty on that right side. He'll have to make some good little adaptations, corrections.
Oh, great get by Hewett. It's good pressure by Johns. And to your point on the backhand dinks, Loong is normally experiencing topspin coming towards him. Now it's backspin. So trying to cut somebody's backspin is a little bit tougher.
Yeah, it's not really the right kind of counter spin, unfortunately. Ah, the old me, you.
What a point. Great defense by the Pioneers and great pressure as they work themselves up to a position, and then Loong just finishes the point.
Yeah, there was a shot in there that really exemplifies one of the things that makes Ben Johns as good as he is. He doesn't just reset the ball, he redirects that reset into a great location. And a foot fault is called on McGuffin.
His right foot.
It could have just been the shadow of the mullet. I don't know. if that's in the kitchen, it's possible.
Yeah, the grease.
Yes.
Great reset by Hewett.
Yeah. It was mostly self-defense, I think. the Scorpion from Loong. The decoy.
Wow.
The Ernie decoy. We'll call it that. Just a clean miss.
Yeah, just barely misses the Ernie there. Benjohn's able to clean it up, and great ending to that point for the Pioneers. I don't like that setup in that formula there for the Hustlers, though.
Yeah, Loong is getting reads on those forehands from McGuffin, left, right, and center. So, yeah, I feel like they might need to sit in the rallies a little bit longer. When you have the king of the Ernie on the other side, especially.
What a shot by McGuffin as Johns pushes that cross-court dink just a little bit too wide. McGuffin anticipates it, waits on it, and puts it in the back corner.
Yeah, beautiful work. He's really developed a fantastic flick of the wrist in recent time.
When we talk strategy, I like that strategy better for the Hustlers, where they're going to go cross-court to Loong. I don't really like the cross-court back and forth to Ben Johns.
No one's ever really proven that that's a successful strategy. And overly aggressive from Hewett exposes the wing on the McGuffin side, and Loong very happy to see that.
First drive was good, second one needed to be a reset, just a little bit too high, and Loong knows what to do with those all day.
And a lot of the evening, I would say. Oh, a rare miss from Johns. It's a ball he loves.
Yeah, he sat on it, but it was a great hold by McGuffin to push that ball wide at the end.
There's a very aggressive return from Johns. That's too good. It's too good. I tell you, the added pressure that it applies to an opponent when you realize that anything dinked towards what is in this case the beta player, Tyler Loong, that's too close to the sideline is going to be earned. It just adds so much to it.
And the second foot fault called on McGuffin here.
They can challenge this if they choose to.
You're right, though. Not a lot of margin there when it comes to dinking back and forth to this Pioneer team. Great routine play there by the Pioneers. Dropped it in the corner. They squeezed. Hewett sped up the next one, and they completed that.
Oh, well, he made the correction from the previous swoop in backhand volley, and that one just looked beautiful.
That right there is an extremely high-level shot to be able to change that spin and put top spin on that ball.
Oh, that's great work from Hewett. Just a different kind of spin, different look. Johns was doing a good job handling the attempts from McGuffin, but I think the added top spin that the Hewett left hand can put on the ball is more than enough.
Yeah, and that's the strategy I want to see more from the Hustlers, where they attack Loong on that left shoulder and see if they can get him jammed up.
Just 1 point the margin now. So they'll get the switch, 11-9 to the Seattle Pioneers.
Yeah, if you notice the small subtlety on that last point, Ben Johns actually was more on the right side than he's been the entire game. That tells me that he's deciding to get a little bit more aggressive here and is not a fan of this game being this close.
Etta, you okay? Switching up?
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of trust in Tyler Loong. He knows he doesn't need to overplay. Loong has handled a lot of the attacks from McGuffin so far very well. Right now, the onus is on McGuffin and Hewett to make the changes. And I think just a little bit of added patience, trying to get into that pattern that you mentioned earlier, the Rafa Hewett versus Tyler Loong backhand to backhand slice cross-court dink. If they can convince them to get into that kind of routine, I think there's a winning possibility there.
Yeah, we talked about it before that changeover. Ben John's getting a little more aggressive. They're just slightly over leveraged. I like the way the Huskers have been playing so far. They just need to keep it up.
And right now the wind is with the Pioneers, so any overdose of enthusiasm could easily send a ball too far, and they've leveled the scores.
Yeah, and the energy meter right now for the Huskers is starting to increase.
Go.
The difficult part, of course, is when you do realize you and your partner need more energy, for that not to immediately translate in just a more aggressive play from areas of the court where you certainly shouldn't be.
Yeah, somewhat of a drug, right?
I think Hewett had a great chance to continue the cross-court exchange with Loong there, and he elected to try to go to the backhand side of Ben Johns, and that backhand is legendary. ATP opportunity.
Oh, great defense by Johns.
Oh. That's big, and the first chest pump.
Yeah, what a play there by the Hustlers, and credit to Hewett for not attempting the double ATP and hits the second backhand cross court.
Yeah, way to curb your enthusiasm there, Rafa. Oh. And if that one escapes the arena, someone's going to get hit.
Yeah, and if you follow Tyler Loong on social media, you'll see that on every one of his posts.
Has he got it?
Oh, he just missed it there. Looks like 6 inches long.
Johns was moving off to his left. The space might have been available, but it was not to be. So 15-12, the Pioneers.
It's a great misdirect speed up by Johns, and it was a setup ball towards McGuffin. He got that one back, but they were able to finish it off just after.
That's big, and that has inspired a timeout from the Hustlers. Good ATP. Not the most venomous, but Ben was there to handle the defense.
I think Tyler Loong is saying that, hey, I know you're going to come to me over and over on this backhand side, and you want to get into these dink rallies. I'm able to hit ATPs if you get a little bit over leverage or push this ball too wide. I wonder if the New York City Hustlers are going to rethink that strategy at this point.
Yeah, trying to pick the right poison for them is a difficult thing. So much firepower on the other side.
Yeah, I'd like to see Hewett stay in there instead of going around that ball to his forehand. See if he can flip a ball out of the air.
Such a good rip from Tyler Loong. I think McGuffin, he called out, but I don't know if that one was sailing long.
That ball had a little side spin on it, tricked up Hewett a little.
That's a ball that just has to drop. Yeah, it was certainly high enough, and right now the differences are some of those faster exchanges. Loong and Johns are just doing a better job of finishing off that last ball. If Johns overplays, even he can get in trouble. So good lesson.
He's used to seeing a backhand right there, and that now he's got a left hand in Hewett that was right on top of that backhand flip.
McGuffin tried to put his hand in there, and I think it just disrupted Hewett a little bit.
Yeah, great decision by Loong to not earny that ball and let it bounce.
We have a game point here, folks. This to go 2 games up. Well, they saved one.
You don't often see that, as Ben Johns went all the way to the right side and stayed, and Loong switched positions. The double earny by Loong. The triple earny.
Can we get one more for luck?
Oh, and then finishes it off the net. Hewett not happy about that one. The net giveth and take it away, Morgan. Isn't that
true.
it?
Yeah. The pickleball gods seem to be in the favor of the Pioneers. So 20-14 is the score. Oh, that was polite.
Threw off Loong just a little bit, didn't it?
I'm sure he couldn't believe what was happening.
And that's why rally scoring, makes it tough. I think McGuffin decided to put 60% on that ball.
Hewett electing for 100, and well, it turns out 60 was better. Great defense from McGuffin.
Oh, great ball. Good ATP by Johns. Hewett defends it, and Loong finishes the point.
What a point to finish on. That was a masterclass of precision pickleball. Well played, Ben Johns and Tyler Loong. I tell you, they put in the hard work. They had a disciplined approach. Yes, they drove a handful of third balls, often just to set themselves up. And it just seemed like the Hustlers were on the back foot most of the match there. They were the ones defending, unable to really dictate play so well.
And it makes it effortless when you have the best player in all of pickleball on your side, and Ben Johns. And so you saw how he was able to dictate the pace in that game. For the Hustlers, they've got to clean up a few of those mistakes there to end up getting this game a little bit closer. But they're not out of it, right? They're down 0-2. They've got a chance to get back into this match. They need to put their best mixed lineup on the court right now and see what they can do to build momentum.
Yeah, for sure. However, unfortunately for them, the Pioneers did win the toss, and they elected to play as the home team, which means that the Hustlers are going to be choosing their lineup first, and the Pioneers then get to counter that. So it's a good extra advantage. So we'll see very shortly who's going to be on the court. Looks like it's McGuffin and Wright. I think that is going to be their A team. And, well, Etta Wright, I'd be surprised if she's going to play in the mixed with Dizon. But we'll find out shortly. We're going to take a momentary break as you watch this wonderful warm-up. You can learn a lot from a warm-up, can't you, Brandon?
Absolutely.
All right, we're back shortly, guys. Morgan Evans here with Brandon Insikbong.
You have a lineup yet?
Seattle, we got Tyler and Meghan going for Seattle, and Tyson going for the.
Okay, so for Seattle, who do you have? You got Tyler and Meghan.
I'm sure I spelled her name wrong, so don't judge me for that. There's an H. That's all I know. So I'm just going to have to apologize to you.
We got Anna, Tyson.
How very smart of you. Do you have like 15 just for Tyson alone? All right. All right, folks, you got about a minute.
We're back with the Seattle Pioneers 2 games up. If they can seal this first mixed doubles match, then they will take the day from the Hustlers.
Interesting strategy by the Pioneers as they put their secondary mixed doubles team out on the court right now against the New York Hustlers' #1 mixed team. What do you think the thought is here?
Well, I mean, obviously, Dizon and Loong, they know each other's games very well, both Utahns. And I think they know that it's going to allow Dizon to always play on the left. And she's got such a good drive. I think Tyler Loong was going to be able to get in there and really cause some trouble. And I think he likes his matchup when he's heads up with McGuffin. He had success in the previous match. That one was sailing a decent margin out, but Dizon
Still getting her bearings, right?
Yeah.
Sat that last game.
She played a fantastic women's doubles game, though.
As she corrected the vision pretty quickly. That ball was maybe an inch out versus the first one being a few feet.
For sure. Put her contacts in, and she's ready to go.
What a ball by Dizon.
Amazing stuff.
How about that for getting dialed in fast?
Yeah, that's what great players do. They make a mistake, but they don't usually make the same mistake twice.
Big drive from Loong. And noticeably on his drive, he's got side spin on it, right? So you think it's coming towards one area, and it's moving on you.
Yeah, the one thing it's not doing, though, is dropping down into the court at any real pace. So it is something that is different from a lot of drives. Yeah, we heard a me, 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 and a me.
Great finish by Loong. He makes his way more and more to the left side, and then once he gets an up ball, he's familiar with what to do with that.
Yeah, so active with the legs, counterbalancing well. We saw a lot of that from Lacy Schneeman. And it's often something that you see from players with a very, very high power to weight ratio. But they recognize that if they put so much force into something, they better have something to counter to stay behind that kitchen line.
The Hustlers seemingly wanted to change their strategy there. They had a lot of balls to Dizon. McGuffin thought he had an opportunity, pushed that a little bit deep.
They are cooking with gas. Who is this woman?
We know from the women's game, that's the one spot you do not want to leave up when it comes to Dizon, is that backhand.
McGuffin did a good job cramping up Loong as he came forward.
Great patience by the Hustler. Loong got a little bit greedy as he moved through the transition area. Yeah, that ball just a few inches wide there.
And the Ron Ponder was close to the line. He might be able to have a good look. Tyler Loong actually made the call. Dizon did not.
Both teams conferring with their bench to see what the correct call is. They have landed on that ball being out. 7-3 Pioneers.
Hey, good pun. I don't know if you knew that. Well done.
It's effortless over here.
It's just effortless. Thanks.
I love that drive there by McGuffin. I mean, that is a 50% ball. Dizon was expecting it to be high in that strike zone.
Yeah. And that's the benefit of possessing a lot of topspin on your forehand drive. You get to be able to attack some things that are well below the net height.
With the lob, great defense. Oh, what a reset by Dizon.
Good patient play. Oh, that one looked relatively routine for him, but amazing work from the Pioneers to stay alive. Good sustained attack from the Hustlers. Now that's giving them the ball back. 6-7 is the score. Wright starting to find her rhythm.
It was awesome play by Wright as she was able to settle in with the dink rally, chose to change it up and go down the line to Dizon, and was ready for multiple counters before finally finishing the point. And that's the one spot I don't want to see McGuffin driving to too high, is that backhand towards Dizon.
Yeah, she's got such a good ability to control that ball while she's in full flight. That was an out ball. Well, in fairness, 2 out balls were hit. I don't think they deserve to win that point.
Worked out in their favor as the Hustlers tie it up at 8-8.
And that net gets involved, and with so much pace on the Anna Bright forehand, just enough to send the ball long. Oh.
It was a great reset in the middle of that by Anna Bright. Loong anticipated a higher ball. It wasn't there, and then became out of position.
So tied ball game, 9-9. Fantastic combination attack. Double forehands from Dizon.
What an awesome bait ball. She threw the bait ball up. Anna Bright hit that one, and then she was able to finalize that point.
Yeah,
nice forehand.
Surprising kind of initial attack. Nice work. Big backhand sets up McGuffin for an even bigger forehand.
Yeah, anytime you attack that low, you got to understand that ball's coming up higher to your opponent. Great finish by McGuffin.
She apologizes for the mishit, but she will take it as we tend to.
I like the initial drive by McGuffin. It was low. I think he just didn't anticipate Dizon hitting a short shot right after. It's a little bit late to get that ball.
Yeah, for sure. It's something I see a lot of players at a recreational level, a mistake they so often make is they, when they're getting a drive upon them, their mindset is keep the opponents back, and it's often the way in which they do that is actually hitting the ball at a relatively high margin above the net. But obviously at the professional level, that opens them up to be exposed for a poach, and also if that person who has driven the ball is actually moving through the drive, by the time it reaches them, it can be waist height or above, and that makes just margin above the net the name of the game. Just keep the ball low. It doesn't have to be deep, because chances are where you think they're going to be and where they're actually going to be are very different.
It's a great point, Morgan.
McGuffin.
Yeah, didn't get on top of that ball as much as he wanted to. Tried to get some top spin and curl that into the baseline.
Yeah, I don't think they need to be pushing the panic button just yet, but we're not a million miles away.
You hate to see one error turn into two.
Unless you're the Pioneers right now.
And Loong calls that ball in.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's nice.
It's a great shot by McGuffin. Not a lot of space to do it with.
Yeah, he keeps trying to test that two-handed backhand of Dizon. I tell you, the player she was a year ago is not the player she is today.
Got to drop that ball in the bucket.
Very nice rolling cross-court dink from Wright.
Loong has been pretty good on those exchanges in this game.
Oh, and it just floats long. So 13-14.
Ernie by Loong. Great defense. I love that speed up by Wright.
Yeah, it was a different looking attack, rewarded with some high balls. McGuffin more than up to the task to finish that one. Loong tested her one too many times.
Yeah, that last ball was just a little bit too high. I think he thought Dizon was going to be there to cover, left a gap.
Yeah. Just needs to make that easy reset. I mean, it might look easy on camera. It's certainly not easy, but that's one of the difference makers.
What a ball by McGuffin as he is actually sliding to his left and then flips this ball through the middle.
Yeah, he caught both players moving to their sidelines to try to protect against a potentially very good dink, and there was space available in the middle. Oh, that was an ATP opportunity. That's so good from Tyler Loong. You talked a little bit earlier about how his drives have that kind of side spin. It's because he's sliding the paddle off across the ball so well, and he does it with so many of those volley attacks, and it was catching Anna Bright in an awkward location.
Both teams probing here. And the Hustlers find an opening right at that exact moment.
I tell you, just how quickly Anna Bright moves into position, it's fantastic.
It's awesome anticipation.
Yeah, we often talk about foot speed and how important it is, but you can exchange great anticipation for foot speed.
We talk about not wanting McGuffin to drive to Dijon's two-hand backhand, but as he moves it to the left, he's got a Tyler Loong forehand there as well.
Oh, miscommunication, and it costs them.
I think that ball had a little more speed on it than McGuffin was anticipating.
Right here, come on.
Just 2 points away now.
17.
That ball just didn't come up. Loong not happy with possibly the ball or the court, who knows?
18.
What a dink from Anna Bright.
It's a great third in there, and it had so much topspin. It just caught Loong in a tough position. McGuffin with the opportunity for him, routine transition backhand.
19.
That ball sails long. Great pressure by McGuffin and the Hustlers there. A 20-19 lead to get them back in this match.
Yeah, and the official cheerleader, Rafa Hewett, just doing a great job. Let's just see how much discipline they are prepared to use. Found the right ball. McGuffin stabs that backhand, ricocheting off the paddle of Loong, and that keeps them alive in the game.
Awesome game there for the Hustlers as they were down early. They put it together to keep this match alive, and now we're going to see the #1 mixed team for Seattle Pioneers with Ben Johns and Etta Wright against the New York Hustlers' second mixed team. It's going to be interesting here.
Yeah, look, Rafa Hewett and Lacy Schneeman, they can play free, you know, and no one's expecting them to beat Ben and Etta. It's possible. It's definitely possible. When you've got someone like Rafa Hewett on the team in a rally scoring game, 1-15, the kind of fire, when he catches heat, it could be. You never know. The smart money is obviously typically on Ben Johns with, well, almost anyone.
Yeah, I guess it depends on which team's betting, right? For the New York Hustlers, the first 3 to 4 points are extremely important for them. I think they've got to settle in early, see if they can build up some type of momentum and possibly a lead. You do not want to get behind in this type of matchup. what makes Ben Johns, especially in mixed doubles, so great is that when you start pressing, he's able to find holes, and then he's inching his way closer to winning the game. You've got to be able to play sound, your game, and so you don't want to play into his hands.
For sure. And there's always a second gear. There's always a third gear, and it's difficult if you haven't played a lot against him to figure out just where he's at. You might be losing and think he's in, fifth gear already, but he might still be in first. And when you raise your level, well, he raises it 2 or 3-fold, and that is a difficult proposition for any team.
We also talked about how energy is extremely important in this MLP format. For Rafa, Hewett, and Lacy Schneeman, they are not going to be lacking that energy, and especially the team on their bench as well. They're going to need to show that here. Every ounce that they can provide to squeeze out, fight, and grind for these points, just like McGuffin and Etta were able to do to keep them alive in this matchup, they need to do that here.
Yeah, an inspired performance from McGuffin and Wright. Yeah, I think Ben Johns and Etta Wright, the styles and their kind of their emotional state on the court in general, I think complement each other very well. Ben so often, just keeps a pretty stoic face. And well, the flip side of that is going to be Rafa Hewett. And Lacy Schneeman, she has shown a great control of the ball and great shot selections for the most part. There was a couple of moments in the women's game where she got a little over-aggressive and paid the price.
And let's think about what strategies potentially can work, right? We're in the commentator booth. We're not actually playing. Easy to talk about it from this side. I think for Rafa Hewett and Lacy Schneeman, they are obviously going to want to squeeze on Etta Wright as much as possible and feed as many balls there. The challenge for Schneeman going up against Ben Johns on the other side is to make sure that she's not taking opportunities that aren't actually there, right? You can see a ball that maybe is high enough that could work on another player. A lot of times it's playing into what Ben wants you to do.
For
right?
sure.
So she's got to be careful there. But also I think what they can add in is throw some lobs in there, right?
Yeah.
Find as many ATPs as possible. Take some chances early to see if you can build some momentum and change up the style of this matchup.
Yeah, and we'll see pretty early on just how much of the court Rafa Hewett is going to try to take. If he gets the sense that their only chance is for him to play lights out, go guns blazing, serve big, go after every third, try to crash himself, I'm hoping he will allow Schneeman plenty of time to settle in, because there's always a moment where your opponents start to get in tune with the rhythm, and they find a way to either keep you honest, close to your sideline, or get to the girl. And if you have spent the majority of the match overplaying and trying to take so many balls, then your girl's not warm. She's not hot. She's cold, and when you need it down the stretch, it's not going to help. So hopefully Rafa Hewett and Schneeman can play. We typically don't see a lot of 50-50, mixed doubles in professional level, and we'll definitely see Ben taking upwards of 70-80% of the court, and I think Etta Wright will be fine with that.
And for both teams, losing on the court physically is one thing, but what you don't want is your opponent to be beating you mentally. So you want to make sure you stay in there. I think they should be relying on the bench as much as possible to keep them sound and focused. We're in for a great matchup here.
This crowd is going crazy already. The atmosphere in MLP is just unlike anything else. Wow, we are in for fireworks.
We talked about it. Etta Wright's going to see a lot of balls. She just saw 9 back-to-back right there.
Ooh, a little unlucky.
Yeah, a little tough. It hits the net. Hewett actually points to Wright and tells Schneeman, go down the line with that ball.
And that ball just wide, so Schneeman, disregarding the the coaching from Hewett, decides to go over to Johns again.
I think Johns wasn't even sure if that ball was out and just got caught. Great reset by Hewett. Hustlers probably okay with that play as they funneled most of the balls into the middle section, which is Hewett's forehand and Schneeman's forehand as well.
Well, I think that attack from Wright was sitting up high enough regardless.
3-2.
Great return from Johns.
Schneeman trying to alleviate her own pressure, just going cross court, but I think she has to really embrace the down the line dinking with Wright. Great take from Hewett. One thing we haven't seen from Etta Wright is a lot of Ernies, so I think Schneeman has to test whether or not that's a skill set that she really owns. She's relatively new to the game. It's often one of the last pieces of the puzzle to come in.
It's a great drive to set up that play by Hewett. He looked over and saw Ben and decided to put that ball a little bit lower than he should. Ends up clipping the net.
Yeah, definitely got one of the best drives in the game. Schneeman has learned her lesson, it appears. Oh, no, she hasn't. And the opposing team assuring Ben Johns it's not worth a challenge. Yeah. It was definitely a...
She took a chance on that cross court. He flipped that one and wasn't able to get the second one in.
I really think that the bench should be on the other side so you can actually get a view of the ball, whether or not it should be in or out.
Got a good point there.
Yeah, I mean... Are you going to trust your enemy on your line calls? Yeah, it just looked like Hewett was a little more concerned about his balance than the shot itself.
Yeah, Ben John's actually shocked that he missed that ball.
So 6-5. Oh, this is when Ben gets loose.
Yeah, starting to wind up a lot here.
Yeah. It has this effect of kind of freezing opponents, and it's a wonderful way to deceive in both direction and intention. Has he got it? Yeah, it looks like it.
And that's the setup that Johns would hope for. The previous play, he put pressure on Schneeman in the corner, forced her to go cross court. He flips that ball at Hewett.
Oh, just got tangled up a little bit.
Great play there by the Hustlers.
So 6-8.
6-8.
Ben John's almost taking out Etta right there.
Yeah, you see how much work Etta Wright had to do to make that a forehand return of serve, and that cost her a lot of time and space getting up to the kitchen. Ben Johns able to cover.
What a reset by Johns. Schneeman with the finish. Great play all around. Hewett even to keep that ball in an aggressive fashion. Look at this play here.
Yeah, really exploring the full width of the court was Hewett.
What a return by Johns.
And a Hewett in full flight is not an easy thing to be able to then drop a ball. Wright just looked like she was moving away from the ball there, sliding to her right. Pun intended.
It's a great drive by Hewett. Schneeman saw an opportunity. I think Hewett would have rather let that ball go through to reset another, keep the point alive.
It is one of the most difficult things, and if you have darted across the court, a ball is there that you can contact, and you realize just at the moment prior to contact, it's probably not something I should attack. If you pull out of that, your partner often isn't ready for, to field that backup shot.
And while it may not look like much, those shots, those kind of decisions are often the difference between winning and losing at this type of level. See the New York Hustlers down 3 here. They're not out of it. In the previous mixed match, they were down at the changeover, ended up coming out on top. Let's see if they can do the same thing here.
Yeah, they have a little bit of breeze against them, so Hewett is going to have license to really get after those third shot drives, even more so than he already has, which seems hard to believe. Schneeman up to the task, handling that first attack from Johns nicely.
Both teams like that setup. I think Wright would want to see that ball again. Great job by the Hustlers.
Johns, the shot he hit was not ideal, and Hewett was there to really capitalize, but his hands are just so good. He gets himself out of off-balance positions and handles counter punches so well. Again, Johns is finding his third gear.
Yeah, he's starting to put his imprint squarely on this game right now. Johns just trying to take so many balls that that last one, Etta Wright, felt like it was certainly going to be hers. Got jammed up a little bit.
Yep.
You notice that she faded to her left. Johns was expecting her to fade right.
And that ball just careening through the commentary booth here. Someone back there will hopefully get it.
That ball had a lot of pace on it. Look, I attempted to catch it, just made a business move, decided not to. I need my hands for the rest of the day.
Look, you did. Well, I don't really know. You need your voice box, and you're going to have to eat at some point. But so, still a smart move. And I expect to see you out in professional pickleball in the not too distant future.
Absolutely.
I'll miss you, obviously, but the game needs you, bud. Oh, fantastic hands from Wright.
Yeah, listen, great hands by Wright, but also she did fade to her left side again. She got away with it, but I think what Johns wants her to do is fade right on that type of ball. And she does it there, if you notice, right? Yeah. She faded right. She hit a two-hand backhand on each of those. That's the play that Johns is accustomed to, normally playing with Colin Johns in men's doubles and winning countless PPA titles.
Yeah, and with every great mixed partner that he's had, he's often have to play that kind of role where it is, it looks like now around about 90% of the court. I remember a long time ago doing a podcast with Simone Jajin. At the time, they had created a dynasty. They were basically unbeaten for years. And one of the questions she so often gets, and one of the listeners wanted to find out, is how does she feel about the fact that he often looks like he's just playing men's singles out there? And she said quite categorically, before I'd even finished the question, I love it. It's great for me. It helps me preserve my body for women's doubles and for singles, and it's a business out there.
Great dodge by Wright.
Oh,
that
yes.
ball just a few inches deep.
Yeah, Schneeman went back cross-court again and again, and then just over the right shoulder.
That's why you stretch
Wright.
before matches, so you can get down like that.
Sometimes you got to get low.
And there's the
Hewett.
play to the tee.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and they got Hewett to cramp middle just enough, and then got the ball behind him. For him as a lefty to his backhand side, very tricky. So now only 3 points away. Etta Wright there right when Johns needs her.
I am extremely impressed with the coachability of Etta Wright. We saw her moving to the wrong direction early on. Now she's starting to fade seamlessly in this strategy for the Pioneers.
Yeah, it's a very new experience for a lot of players. Schneeman able to block the ball from hitting one of the audience members here, but unable to keep it in. So 2010, this is game and match point for the Seattle Pioneers. And that ball sails long, so it's the Pioneers taking this matchup over the New York Hustlers. Well fought. All 4 matches. Intense. Highest level of pickleball I've seen in a long time. And one of the most remarkable things about that is these are players that don't typically play together. You know, we're used to seeing how well Ben plays with Annalie Waters, for example. But this new team, that's one of the things that makes MLP so exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it speaks to the progress of MLP. These players have been spending multiple times together. They've flown to different cities to train, to practice. They've communicated in group chats. They've got coaches. And you're seeing the product of that in this environment today, where it looks like they're seamlessly playing the style that they want to.
Yeah, beautiful work. I'm Morgan Evans. This is Brandon Insingpong. God, it hasn't rolled off the tongue just yet. I'm gonna get it. Insingpong. It's you know.
We've got more time.
We've got more time
right?
together.
So you're
exactly.
okay. You know?
Yeah. Just give me 7 or 8 more repetitions. It's just practice. We will be back at 3 o'clock for the next matchup. That is going to be one of the semifinals of the Challenger Series. You're not going to want to miss that one. And then we will finish up the day with another wonderful match from the Premier level. So we will be back in about half an hour. Do not go anywhere, folks. Or maybe go over to Championship Court. That's pretty good. All right, we'll see you soon.